Hi, my name is Kelly Smith. I teach seventh grade science and project lead the way courses for Little Rock School District at Horace Mann Middle School. This summer, my placement was Arkansas Energy and Environment. It's located in North Little Rock, Arkansas, and I worked specifically in the asbestos department. We did Arkansas Energy. Let me tell you a little bit about Arkansas Energy and Environment. They have two divisions. They have the energy section and then they have the environmental section. I worked on the environmental side, again in the asbestos and enforcement department, and they regulate like if a contractor is going to demolish something or they're remodeling or building something, then they make sure that they're abiding by the codes and they enforce whatever the regulations are. They make sure that they are abiding by those regulations. If not, then they can do things like fine them. They can do things like shut down work because they're out of compliance. And so I got to go out on some inspections, and it was really interesting to go and watch them do a very professional job. The whole object of it was to protect the citizens of Arkansas, to protect our environment. And so based on that, on my experiences, I created a lesson called Breathe Easy. And that lesson was to expose my students to hopefully to make them more environmentally aware of what they're doing and the need for them to protect and preserve our resources. Excuse me. Um, One of the things, and this slide is simply showing some of the things that we had to wear. I didn't have to suit up completely because I didn't go near into the places where um, I was exposed to asbestos, but I did have to do hard hats and safety glasses and things like that. And so we did go into some areas where those signs were posted and people were wearing suits and things like that. And so that's some of the things I experienced over the summer. With my lesson, I started my lesson with just asking students, did they know what about air composition, the air we're breathing? Of the 40 that I tested, two of them had an idea that it was more than oxygen. They didn't know what, but more than oxygen. And so the lesson started with just teaching them what should be in the air, what makes up the air that they breathe. And so we did that with some M&Ms, and the Strive program allowed me to buy some things for my students to experience do some hands-on activities. And so that was the first one, using some M&Ms to create a pie chart of air composition. And we moved from there into a lesson where they created smog, and everybody was engaged with that, and they wanted to do it again and again, just keep creating smog. Um, but basically my students, they do virtual labs or I do a demonstration. But because of that grant and because of the equipment, then they were able to actually do hands-on experiments. And so, as you can see, they were able to create the smog. We moved from there into trying to collect particulate matter. And so the graph shows only about 10 or 12 students, maybe 15 that I collected data, even though there were 40. I only displayed about 15 students and how they did with the test, the pre-test, and the post-test. And all of them showed growth. They were unaware of collecting particulate matter, but after the experiment, and which was another plus for them because they got to do an actual experiment and not something virtual again. Um, they did not, a lot of the students didn't make the connection that I wanted them to as far as the placement of their slides and how they determined how much particulate matter they would collect. They didn't get that piece. And then there was a piece where they had to do some research on an environmental career. A lot of them didn't really want to do that. They wanted to do some research on a career just of their own choosing, but I had put some parameters in place and some limitations because we were talking about the environment. As far as my growth, I grew a lot with the Strive PD. It made me kind of think of why I do what I do. Was it really benefiting my students? And so I did a lot of reflecting throughout the professional development and throughout the summer, and I know my students benefited. I hope that they're more environmentally aware. I know they gained some exposure to experiments and lab equipment and things like that. And so I benefited as well as my students. Thank you.